The arrival of the war beasts. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, beyond the known stars, lay a vibrant and peaceful planet called Elaria. Its beauty was unparalleled, with lush green landscapes, crystal-clear waters, and skies that shimmered with hues of blue and gold. Elaria was home to a harmonious society of humans and aliens who had coexisted for centuries, sharing knowledge and culture in a symbiotic relationship. But peace was not destined to last forever. Deep within the dark void of space, an ominous force was stirring. The infamous space pirate, Captain Zarek, had set his sights on Elaria. Known for his ruthless tactics and insatiable greed, Zarek had heard of the war beasts, ancient and powerful creatures said to possess unimaginable destructive power. These beasts had been hidden away by the Galactic Council to prevent their misuse, but Zarek had other plans. One fateful night, under the cloak of darkness, Zarek and his crew infiltrated the Galactic Council's vault. Using advanced technology and sheer cunning, they bypassed security and retrieved the war beasts' containment devices. As they made their escape, alarms blared, and the Council was alerted, but it was too late. Zarek's ship vanished into the vast expanse of space, heading straight for Elaria. Unaware of the impending danger, the inhabitants of Elaria went about their daily lives. Among them was a young and brilliant scientist named Dr. Mara Elian. Mara had dedicated her life to studying the planet's unique ecosystem and fostering cooperation between the diverse species that called Elaria home. Her research had earned her respect and admiration, and she had recently been appointed as an advisor to the Council of Elders. As dawn broke over Elaria, Mara received a frantic message from the Council. The war beasts had been stolen, and Zarek was en route to Elaria with his deadly cargo. Panic spread through the Council chambers as they realized the gravity of the situation. Mara, with her calm demeanor and quick thinking, immediately proposed a plan to defend their world. "We must unite and use our combined knowledge and strength to protect Elaria," Mara urged. "The war beasts are formidable, but we have the power of unity and resilience on our side." The Council agreed, and preparations began in earnest. Mara and her team worked tirelessly to devise a strategy to counter the war beasts' destructive capabilities. They developed specialized weapons and defenses, utilizing the planet's natural resources and advanced technology. The inhabitants of Elaria, human and alien alike, trained and prepared for the battle that loomed on the horizon. Meanwhile, Zarek's ship approached Elaria's atmosphere. The pirate captain, with his cold and calculating demeanor, watched as his crew activated the containment devices. One by one, the war beasts were unleashed upon the unsuspecting planet. These creatures, with their massive forms and terrifying strength, descended from the sky, their roars echoing through the air. Chaos erupted as the war beasts began their assault. Buildings crumbled under their immense weight, and fires raged as they unleashed their fury. The inhabitants of Elaria fought back valiantly, but the war beasts seemed unstoppable. Amidst the chaos, Mara and her team deployed their specially designed weapons, targeting the beasts' weak points and using the environment to their advantage. Mara herself led the charge, her determination unwavering. She faced off against one of the largest war beasts, using her intellect and agility to outmaneuver it. With a precise strike, she managed to wound the creature, buying precious time for her people to regroup. As the battle raged on, an unexpected ally emerged. Elaria itself seemed to respond to the threat, its very essence rising to defend against the invaders. Trees transformed into towering guardians, rivers surged with newfound strength, and the land itself shifted to create barriers and traps. The planet's natural defenses, combined with the efforts of its inhabitants, began to turn the tide. Captain Zarek, observing from his ship, grew increasingly frustrated. His plans for conquest were crumbling before his eyes. Desperate, he ordered his crew to intensify the attack, but it was too late. The resilience and unity of Elaria's defenders proved too formidable. In a final climactic confrontation, Mara and her allies confronted Zarek and his remaining forces. With a combination of strategy and sheer willpower, they defeated the pirates and secured the containment devices, capturing the war beasts once more. Elaria stood victorious, its inhabitants united in triumph. The battle had been hard-fought, but the strength and determination of its people had prevailed. As the dust settled, Mara addressed the council and the citizens of Elaria. "Today we have shown that no force, no matter how powerful, can break our spirit," she declared. "We are strong because we stand together, and together we will continue to protect our world and our way of life." And so the legend of Elaria and its brave defenders was born, a story of unity, resilience, and the enduring power of a united people. As they rebuilt their world, the inhabitants of Elaria knew that they would always be ready to face any challenge that came their way, standing together as one. The aftermath and the new threat. In the days following the battle, Elaria began the process of rebuilding. The destruction wrought by the war beasts was extensive, but the spirit of the people remained unbroken. Mara and her team worked tirelessly, not only to repair the damage, but also to strengthen their defenses against any future threats. The Council of Elders held regular meetings to discuss long-term strategies for safeguarding their planet. Amidst the reconstruction, a sense of camaraderie flourished. Humans and aliens collaborated closely, sharing their unique skills and perspectives. This cooperation led to innovative solutions and technological advancements that would have been impossible for either group alone. Mara's leadership and vision were instrumental in fostering this unity, and she became a symbol of hope and resilience for all of Elaria's inhabitants. One evening, as Mara was poring over data in her lab, a sudden transmission interrupted her work. The message was from an old friend and former colleague, Dr. Eric Voss, who had been working on a distant research station. His voice was filled with urgency and fear. "Mara, it's Eric. We've detected a massive energy surge from deep space, heading directly toward Elaria. It appears to be another fleet, larger and more powerful than Zarek's. We believe it's led by a warlord known as Thalan the Conqueror, who has been amassing power and resources for years. You must prepare immediately." Mara's heart sank. They had barely recovered from the last attack, and now a new, even more formidable threat loomed. She quickly relayed the information to the Council of Elders, who were equally alarmed. The decision was made to call an emergency assembly of all Elaria's inhabitants to discuss their next steps. The assembly was held in the Grand Hall, a vast structure that could accommodate representatives from every corner of the planet. The atmosphere was tense, but Mara's presence brought a sense of calm and determination. "Friends, we face a grave threat," she began. "Thalan the Conqueror is on his way, and his forces are far greater than anything we've encountered before. But we have something he does not: the unity and resilience that have always defined us. We must use our combined strengths to develop new strategies and fortify our defenses. We have faced the impossible and triumphed before, and we will do so again." The room erupted in applause and shouts of agreement. Plans were quickly set into motion. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock to enhance their weapons and shields. Warriors trained relentlessly, honing their skills and preparing for the inevitable clash. Alliances were strengthened, and new partnerships were formed as Elaria's diverse inhabitants came together with a common purpose. As preparations continued, Mara received another message from Dr. Voss. He had uncovered critical information about Thalan's fleet. It was powered by a massive energy core that could be disrupted by a precise, coordinated attack. This core was heavily guarded, but it presented a potential weak point that could turn the tide of the battle. Mara gathered her most trusted advisors and shared the news. They devised a bold plan to infiltrate Thalan's flagship and disable the energy core. It was a dangerous mission, but it offered the best chance of victory. Volunteers stepped forward, each willing to risk their lives to protect their home. The day of reckoning arrived. Thalan's fleet appeared on the horizon, a formidable armada that blotted out the sky. The defenders of Elaria stood ready, their hearts filled with a mixture of fear and resolve. Mara led the infiltration team, consisting of the best and brightest from both human and alien factions. As the battle commenced, the skies erupted in a cacophony of explosions and laser fire. Ilaria's defenses held strong, but the sheer number of enemy ships was overwhelming. Mara and her team, using stealth and cunning, managed to board Phelan's flagship undetected. They navigated through the labyrinthine corridors, facing fierce resistance at every turn. Finally, they reached the energy core. The room was heavily fortified, guarded by Phelan's elite warriors. A fierce battle ensued, with Mara and her team fighting desperately to reach the core. Despite the odds, they managed to breach the defenses and plant explosive charges around the core. With moments to spare, they made their escape, racing through the ship as alarms blared. They barely made it back to their transport when the charges detonated, causing a massive explosion that rocked the flagship and sent shockwaves through the fleet. Phelan's ships, deprived of their power source, faltered and began to fall from the sky. On the ground, the defenders of Ilaria watched in awe as the tide of battle turned in their favor. The once imposing fleet was now in disarray, and Phelan's forces began to retreat. Victory was within their grasp. Mara and her team returned to Ilaria as heroes. The planet erupted in celebration, their cheers echoing through the night. But amidst the jubilation, Mara knew that this was only a temporary reprieve. Phelan's defeat was a significant victory, but other threats would surely arise. In the aftermath, the Council of Elders convened once more. Mara proposed the formation of a planetary defense alliance, bringing together the best minds and resources from across the galaxy to ensure that no planet would ever face such danger alone again. The proposal was met with unanimous approval, and plans were set in motion to create a network of cooperation and mutual defense. Ilaria had faced the unimaginable and emerged stronger than ever. The spirit of unity and resilience that had carried them through the darkest times would continue to guide them into the future. As Mara looked out over her beloved planet, she felt a renewed sense of hope and purpose. The battle was won, but the journey was far from over. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their commitment to protect their home and each other. Uncovering the hidden threats. Months had passed since the defeat of Phelan the Conqueror. Ilaria had made significant strides in fortifying its defenses and building alliances with neighboring planets. The newly formed Galactic Defense Alliance, GDA, was proving to be a powerful deterrent against potential aggressors. Under Mara's guidance, Ilaria became a beacon of hope and resilience, inspiring other planets to join the alliance and stand united against common threats. However, peace was always fragile. Mara received an encrypted message one evening from an unknown source. The message contained coordinates and a warning. A new threat is emerging. Investigate quickly, or all will be lost. Determined to uncover the truth, Mara assembled a small team of trusted allies, including Dr. Eric Voss, Captain Rhea Vallon, and tech genius Leon Arlen. Together, they set off to the coordinates provided in the message. The journey took them to a remote and desolate part of the galaxy, far from the established trade routes and settlements. As they approached the coordinates, they detected unusual energy readings. It was unlike anything they had seen before. The source of the readings led them to a hidden base on a small, uncharted moon. The base was heavily guarded, suggesting that whatever was inside was of great importance. Using their advanced stealth technology, Mara and her team managed to infiltrate the base. What they discovered inside was beyond their worst fears: a massive stockpile of advanced weaponry and a fleet of warships, all bearing the insignia of a mysterious organization known only as the Order of Shadows. The Order of Shadows was an ancient and secretive group believed to have been disbanded centuries ago. Their objective had always been to sow chaos and seize control through subterfuge and terror. It was now clear that they had resurfaced, more powerful and dangerous than ever. Mara quickly transmitted the data back to Ilaria and the GDA. the Council of Elders convened an emergency session to discuss the implications of this discovery. The presence of such a formidable and secretive enemy posed a grave threat to the fragile peace they had worked so hard to achieve. "We cannot allow the Order of Shadows to regain their strength," Mara declared. "We must strike now, before they can unleash their plans upon the galaxy." The GDA mobilized its forces, and a coalition fleet was assembled to launch a preemptive strike on the hidden base. Mara and her team, now joined by elite soldiers from various allied planets, led the charge. The battle was fierce and brutal, with the Order of Shadows forces putting up a formidable resistance. Amidst the chaos, Mara and her team made their way to the central command center of the base. There, they confronted the leader of the Order of Shadows, a shadowy figure known as Lord Kale. He was a master tactician and a ruthless warrior, driven by a desire to dominate the galaxy. "Your efforts are futile, Mara," Lord Kale sneered. "The Order of Shadows will rise again, and all will bow before us." "We'll see about that," Mara replied, her voice steely with resolve. The ensuing battle was intense. Lord Kale's abilities were formidable, but Mara and her team fought with unmatched determination and skill. In the end, they managed to defeat him and dismantle the command center, crippling the base's operations. With the base in ruins and Lord Kale defeated, the remaining forces of the Order of Shadows fled into the depths of space. The GDA had struck a significant blow against this hidden threat, but Mara knew that their work was far from over. Back on Elaria, the Council of Elders praised Mara and her team for their bravery and success. However, the discovery of the Order of Shadows had revealed the extent of the challenges they faced. The galaxy was vast, and there were countless dangers lurking in the shadows. "We must remain vigilant," Mara said during a debriefing. "The Order of Shadows may have been defeated today, but their remnants are still out there. We need to continue building our alliances, strengthening our defenses, and preparing for whatever threats may come." The GTA redoubled its efforts, enhancing surveillance and intelligence operations to root out any remaining cells of the Order of Shadows. Plans were also made to expand their reach, incorporating more planets into the alliance and fostering greater cooperation and unity. Mara, ever the visionary leader, took it upon herself to personally oversee these initiatives. She traveled across the galaxy, meeting with leaders and representatives from various worlds, sharing Elaria's story and inspiring others to join their cause. As the years passed, the GDA grew stronger, and the bonds between its member planets deepened. Elaria flourished, becoming the hub of innovation, culture, and diplomacy. Mara's legacy as a leader and a symbol of hope was cemented, and her name became synonymous with courage and unity. Yet, amidst the peace and progress, Mara remained ever watchful. She knew that the galaxy's future depended on their continued vigilance and readiness to face any challenge. The battle against the Order of Shadows had shown them the importance of unity and resilience, lessons that would guide them as they forged ahead into an uncertain future. The journey was far from over, but together, they would face whatever came their way, united in their commitment to protect their home and each other. The rising darkness. Years of peace and prosperity had followed the defeat of Lord Kale and the crippling of the Order of Shadows. Elaria and its allies in the Galactic Defense Alliance, GDA, had thrived, becoming a symbol of hope and resilience in a galaxy that had once teetered on the brink of chaos. Under Mara's leadership, the alliance had grown stronger and more unified, their collective strength a formidable deterrent against any would-be aggressors. But peace, as always, was fragile. In the depths of space, far from the eyes of the GDA, a new threat was emerging. Whispers of a shadowy figure known only as the Dark Empress began to spread through the galaxy. Her followers, the Shadows One, were said to be ruthless and fanatically loyal, their purpose shrouded in mystery but their intent clear: to plunge the galaxy into darkness and chaos. The first sign of this new threat came in the form of a distress signal from the planet Lyria, a peaceful world known for its vibrant culture and advanced technology. The message was brief and desperate. "We are under attack. The Shadows One have come. Help us." Mara and her team, now seasoned veterans of countless battles, wasted no time. They assembled a task force and set course for Lyria, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they might be too late. As they arrived, they found the planet in flames, its once beautiful cities reduced to rubble and its people fleeing in terror. The Shadows One were unlike any enemy they had faced before. Clad in dark, menacing armor and wielding advanced weaponry, they moved with a precision and brutality that spoke of rigorous training and unwavering loyalty. At their head was a figure in black, her presence exuding an aura of power and malice that made even the bravest soldiers falter. Mara's task force engaged the Shadows One in fierce combat, their resolve tested to its limits. The battle raged on, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. Amidst the chaos, Mara spotted the leader of the Shadows One. She knew that taking down this figure would be crucial to turning the tide of the battle. With determination burning in her eyes, Mara fought her way through the enemy ranks, her allies close behind. As she approached the leader, their eyes met, and Mara felt a chill run down her spine. This was no ordinary foe. This was the Dark Empress herself. "You are too late, Mara," the Dark Empress said, her voice a cold, sinister whisper. "Lyria will fall, and with it, the hope of your precious alliance." "Not if I have anything to say about it," Mara replied, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her heart. The two clashed, their battle a whirlwind of light and shadow. The Dark Empress was a formidable opponent, her powers unlike anything Mara had encountered. But Mara fought with the strength and skill honed through years of training and experience, her determination unwavering. As the battle reached its peak, Mara's allies managed to push back the Shadows One, creating an opening. With a final, desperate surge of energy, Mara struck the Dark Empress, her weapon piercing through the darkness that surrounded her. The Dark Empress let out a scream of rage and pain, her form dissipating into a cloud of shadow. With their leader defeated, the Shadows One began to retreat, their cohesion shattered. The battle was won, but the cost was high. Lyria lay in ruins, and the once vibrant planet was now a shadow of its former self. Back on Elaria, Mara and her team reported their findings to the Council of Elders. The Dark Empress was not just a leader. She was a symbol of a much larger and more dangerous threat. The Shadows One were a well-organized and well-funded force, their origins and ultimate goals still shrouded in mystery. "We must prepare for the worst," Mara said, her voice grim. "The Shadows One are unlike any enemy we faced. We need to strengthen our defenses, gather intelligence, and unite our allies like never before." The GDA heeded her warning, launching a series of initiatives to bolster their defenses and uncover the truth about the Shadows One and their mysterious leader. Mara, ever the tireless warrior, took a leading role in these efforts, her resolve strengthened by the knowledge that the galaxy's future depended on their success. As the weeks turned into months, the GDA's efforts began to bear fruit. They discovered that the Shadows One were not a new organization, but rather an ancient cult that had resurfaced, their goals tied to an artifact of immense power known as the Shadow Core. Legends spoke of the Shadow Core as a source of unimaginable power, capable of corrupting and controlling those who sought it. The GDA launched a mission to find and secure the Shadow Core before the Shadows One could harness its power. Mara and her team were at the forefront of this mission, their determination unwavering despite the dangers they faced. Their journey took them to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, through treacherous space and hostile territories. Along the way, they encountered allies and enemies, each encounter bringing them closer to their goal. The legend of the Shadow Core led them to a forgotten planet, hidden in the shadow of a dying star. There, in the heart of an ancient temple, they found the Shadow Core. Its presence was overwhelming, a palpable force of darkness that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. As they approached, they realized that they were not alone. The Shadows One had followed them, led by a figure cloaked in shadow. The final battle was a test of everything they had learned and endured. The Shadows were fought with a desperation born of fanaticism, their leader's eyes gleaming with a sinister light. But Mara and her team fought with the strength of unity and the determination to protect their home and each other. As the battle raged on, Mara reached the shadow core, her hand trembling as she grasped it. A surge of dark energy coursed through her, threatening to overwhelm her. But she fought back, drawing on the strength of her allies and the hope that had carried them this far. With a final determined effort, Mara destroyed the shadow core, its dark energy dissipating into nothingness. The Shadows won, their source of power gone, fell into disarray, their leader defeated. The galaxy had been saved once again, but the cost was great. Mara and her team returned to Ilaria, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of the sacrifices made. But they knew that their victory had secured a future for their people and their allies, a future where hope and unity would prevail. As they looked to the stars, they knew that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast and filled with unknown dangers, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their commitment to protect their home and each other. Unraveling secrets. The defeat of the Shadows won and the destruction of the Shadow Core brought a tenuous peace to the galaxy. However, the mystery surrounding the Shadows one's sudden resurgence and their connection to the Shadow Core lingered. Mara and her team were determined to uncover the truth, knowing that the galaxy's safety depended on it. Back on Ilaria, Mara convened with the Council of Elders and her trusted allies to discuss their next steps. The revelations about the Shadows One being an ancient cult with ties to the Shadow Core suggested there were deeper, older secrets that needed to be uncovered. "We need to understand who, or what is behind the Shadows One," Mara stated. The Dark Empress was a powerful adversary, but she was just a part of a larger puzzle. We need to find out where they came from and what their ultimate goal was. The Council agreed and allocated resources to investigate the history of the Shadows One. Ancient texts, forgotten legends, and cryptic messages became the focus of their research. Mara and her team set out to gather information from every corner of the galaxy, from the bustling markets of trading hubs to the secluded libraries of ancient worlds. During their search, they discovered references to an enigmatic figure known as the Shadow Prophet. This figure was said to have been a guiding force behind the Shadows One, a being of immense knowledge and power who had existed for millennia. The Shadow Prophet was rumored to have orchestrated events from the shadows, manipulating history to suit his dark purposes. Their journey led them to a remote, uncharted region of space where they discovered an ancient, abandoned space station. The station's architecture was unlike anything they had seen before, its corridors filled with strange symbols and eerie silence. As they explored, they found remnants of the Shadows One, evidence of their rituals and experiments. In the heart of the station, they found a chamber that housed a massive, intricate device. It pulsed with a dark energy similar to the Shadow Core. Inscriptions on the walls told of a cataclysmic event that had occurred eons ago, an event that had shattered the fabric of reality and given birth to the Shadows One. The inscriptions revealed that the Shadow Prophet had been a powerful being from another dimension, banished to their reality after attempting to seize control of his own. The Shadows One were his followers, beings who had been corrupted by his influence and granted dark powers. The Shadow Core had been a piece of his essence, a fragment of his power that had survived the banishment. Realizing the magnitude of their discovery, Mara and her team knew they had to prevent the Shadow Prophet from returning. They activated the station's communication systems and relayed their findings to the GDA, urging immediate action. The GDA responded swiftly, sending a fleet to secure the station and prevent any further attempts by the Shadows One to harness its power. As Mara and her team prepared to leave, they were ambushed by a group of Shadows One fanatics, determined to protect the secrets of their master. A fierce battle ensued, with Mara and her team fighting desperately to hold their ground. The Shadows One were relentless, their fanaticism driving them to fight to the death. In the chaos, Mara found herself face to face with a figure cloaked in shadow, his eyes gleaming with malevolent intelligence. "You think you can stop the inevitable," the figure hissed. "The Shadow Prophet will return, and this galaxy will be his." "Not while we still stand," Mara replied, her voice unwavering. The battle intensified, and Mara fought with every ounce of her strength and skill. Her team rallied around her, their unity and determination shining through. In a final decisive move, Mara struck down the figure, his form dissolving into shadow as he let out a final defiant scream. With the shadows one defeated, Mara and her team secured the station, ensuring that its secrets would be kept out of the wrong hands. They returned to Ilaria, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of the dangers they had uncovered, but resolute in their mission to protect the galaxy. The GTA launched a comprehensive investigation into the Shadow Prophet and the ancient events that had led to his banishment. Scholars and scientists worked tirelessly to understand the nature of his power and to develop defenses against any future threats. As the months passed, the galaxy slowly began to recover. The people of Lyria rebuilt their cities, and the alliance between the various worlds grew stronger. Mara and her team continued to train and prepare, knowing that their battle was far from over. The Shadow Prophet's influence still lingered, a dark specter on the edge of their consciousness, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their commitment to protect their home and each other. As they looked to the stars, they knew that the future was uncertain, but they also knew that as long as they stood together, they could overcome any darkness that threatened their galaxy. The Shadow Prophet's return. Months passed, and the galaxy experienced a fragile peace. However, Mara and her team remained vigilant, knowing that the threat of the Shadow Prophet was far from vanquished. The discovery of the ancient space station and the truth about the Shadow Prophet had left them with more questions than answers. One night, as Mara studied the ancient texts they had recovered, she received a distress signal from a distant colony on the edge of known space. The message was fragmented and filled with static, but one word stood out clearly: shadow. Without hesitation, Mara gathered her team and set course for the colony. They arrived to find it in ruins, its once vibrant community reduced to rubble and ash. Survivors spoke of a sudden, overwhelming attack by creatures of darkness, led by a figure cloaked in shadow. Mara's heart sank. The Shadow Prophet had returned. Determined to confront this ancient enemy, Mara and her team followed the trail of destruction, which led them to a desolate planet shrouded in perpetual darkness. As they descended into the planet's atmosphere, they felt an oppressive, malevolent presence, as if the very air was tainted by the Shadow Prophet's power. Upon landing, they were immediately attacked by shadows-worn warriors. Mara and her team fought valiantly, their resolve unwavering despite the overwhelming odds. As they pushed forward, they came across a massive temple carved into the side of a mountain, its entrance guarded by statues of nightmarish creatures. Inside, they found a Shadow Prophet, seated on a throne of dark energy. His eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and his voice echoed with ancient power. "So, the defenders of light have come to face me," he sneered. "You are too late. The galaxy will be mine." Mara stepped forward, her voice steady. "We will never let that happen. You may have power, but you underestimate the strength of those who fight for freedom and justice." The Shadow Prophet laughed, a sound that sent chills down their spines. "Your defiance is admirable, but futile. I have transcended time and space, and my power is beyond your comprehension." With that, he unleashed a wave of dark energy. Mara and her team braced themselves, their unity and determination forming a barrier against the onslaught. The battle that ensued was unlike any they had faced before, with the Shadow Prophet manipulating the very fabric of reality to his advantage. But Mara and her team had a secret weapon. The weapon forged from the essence of Terra, a beacon of light that could counter the darkness. As the battle raged on, Mara harnessed the weapon's power, its light cutting through the Shadow Prophet's dark energy. With a final, desperate effort, Mara struck the Shadow Prophet, the weapon's light piercing his form. He let out a roar of rage and pain, his body dissolving into shadow. The temple trembled, its walls cracking as the dark energy dissipated. The team watched in awe as the Shadow Prophet's form disintegrated, leaving behind only a faint whisper of his presence. The oppressive darkness lifted, and light began to seep into the temple. Exhausted but triumphant, Mara and her team returned to their ship. The battle had been won, but they knew that the galaxy still faced many challenges. The Shadow Prophet's defeat had bought them time, but the legacy of his power would linger. Back on Elaria, Mara reported their victory to the Council of Elders. The galaxy celebrated their triumph, but Mara remained cautious. The Shadow Prophet had been a formidable enemy, and his return had shown that ancient threats could still rise from the past. The GDA continued to study the ancient texts and artifacts, seeking to understand the nature of the Shadow Prophet's power and to prevent any future resurgence. Mara and her team remained vigilant, ready to defend the galaxy against any new threats that might arise. As they looked to the future, they knew that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was a vast, mysterious place, filled with both wonder and danger. But they were prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their commitment to protect their home and each other. And so, the legacy of their fight against the Shadow Prophet became a beacon of hope for the galaxy. Mara and her team had proven that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, the light of courage, unity, and determination could shine through. As they looked to the stars, they knew that their story was only just beginning, and that together, they could overcome any darkness that threatened their galaxy. A new dawn. The defeat of the Shadow Prophet marked a significant turning point for the galaxy. Mara and her team were hailed as heroes, their bravery and resilience celebrated across countless worlds. However, the aftermath of the battle revealed that the work of the Guardians of the Dawn Alliance, GDA, was far from over. With the Shadow Prophet vanquished, the GDA focused on rebuilding the colonies and planets ravaged by his darkness. Mara led these efforts, her leadership inspiring hope and unity among the survivors. Her experiences had forged her into a symbol of strength, and her presence reassured those who had lived in fear for so long. Despite the victory, Mara couldn't shake a lingering sense of unease. The ancient texts they had recovered hinted at other powerful entities and hidden threats lurking in the shadows of the galaxy. She knew they had to remain vigilant, always prepared for the unexpected. One day, as Mara and her team were overseeing the reconstruction of a devastated colony, they received an urgent transmission from an unexplored sector of space. It came from an advanced civilization previously unknown to them, the Zorethians. Their message was a plea for help, describing an imminent threat that could potentially eclipse even the Shadow Prophet. Mara gathered her team and prepared for the journey. The Zorethian envoy, a dignified figure named Elara, greeted them upon their arrival. She explained that her people had detected strange anomalies in their region of space, anomalies that hinted at the presence of an ancient, malevolent force awakening from a long slumber. Elara led them to a colossal structure known as the Obsidian Citadel, a remnant of a civilization that had vanished eons ago. The citadel was a labyrinth of advanced technology and arcane symbols, its walls whispering secrets of a forgotten era. As they delved deeper, the team uncovered a vast chamber housing a dormant entity encased in a crystalline cocoon. The entity, known as the Void Titan, was an ancient being of unimaginable power. According to Zorethian legends, the Titan had once sought to consume the entire galaxy, its hunger for power insatiable. Only the combined efforts of the ancient civilizations had managed to imprison it within the citadel. As they studied the cocoon, the team realized that the Titan was beginning to stir. The dark energy it emitted was destabilizing the region, threatening to unleash chaos once more. Mara knew they had to act quickly to prevent the Void Titan's awakening. Elara revealed that the only way to contain the Titan was to use a powerful artifact known as the Celestial Core, a relic imbued with the essence of the stars themselves. However, the core had been lost to time, its location a mystery even to the Zorathians. Determined to save the galaxy once more, Mara and her team embarked on a quest to find the celestial core. Their journey took them to the farthest reaches of known space, encountering ancient guardians, deciphering cryptic messages, and facing perilous trials. Throughout their quest, the bond between the team members grew stronger. Each challenge they faced reinforced their unity and their commitment to protecting the galaxy. They drew strength from their shared experiences and the knowledge that they were fighting for a greater good. Finally, after months of searching, they discovered the celestial core on a remote, inhospitable planet. The core was guarded by a formidable sentinel, a being of pure energy that tested their resolve and teamwork. Through their combined efforts and unyielding spirit, they overcame the sentinel and secured the core. Returning to the Obsidian Citadel, they prepared to use the celestial core to reinforce the Titan's prison. As they activated the artifact, a blinding light filled the chamber, its energy enveloping the crystalline cocoon. The void Titan's stirring ceased, and its dark energy was neutralized. With the Titan securely contained, Mara and her team breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had averted another catastrophe, but they knew their work was not done. The galaxy was vast, and countless mysteries and dangers still awaited them. As they returned to Ilaria, the team reflected on their journey. They had faced overwhelming odds and triumphed, their unity and determination shining through even the darkest times. Their legacy would be one of hope and resilience, a testament to the power of standing together in the face of adversity. The Guardians of the Dawn Alliance continued their mission, ever watchful for new threats and opportunities to protect and uplift the galaxy. Mara's name became synonymous with heroism and leadership, her story inspiring future generations to rise to the challenges of their time. And so, a new dawn rose over the galaxy, its light dispelling the shadows of the past. The adventures of Mara and her team were far from over, but they faced the future with courage and optimism, ready to embrace whatever came next. United in their purpose, they knew that as long as they stood together, there was no darkness they couldn't overcome.